views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
You are listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifester Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you are born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be with you this week. I'm Julia Griffin, and you're listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour and let us help you experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Welcome to the show. Let me tell you what today's show is all about. This week's episode is about techniques and insights on clearing blocks and patterns to manifest more in life. This show should give you a boost with creating your desires and letting the desires that are in your heart come true. But let's begin with what time is it? Well, we're approaching the full moon on Friday, September the 13th. And for those of you who think that this is unlucky, 1,000 years ago, it was a day that was sacred to Venus and love. Fridays are. And the number 13 denotes the void and the cycle of creation. It's where we go back to the beginning and create again. So it's actually a very lucky and wonderful day that will be amplified by the full moon. We're traveling through the transition from the Piscean to the Aquarian age, an event that only occurs every 2,000 years. We're also moving through the procession of ages, and that is a 26,000-year cycle. It's a time when we can take an elevator ride to higher consciousness. It's also one of the reasons that so many people are here right now who can carry, emit, and work with light. And I know that you're one of those people. The wolves told me about this happening, without calling it this, over a decade ago, when they told me that old and new magic would reappear and they would dance together and the earth would change. And it's happening now. That was a while back, but we know that some of humanity, like you, is awakening, and that life behaves very differently at this higher vibration, because this is the place that we perceive the light and open to our intuitive abilities. TM estimated that if only 3% of the people of the global population would meditate, we would move into this higher world. So join me when you meditate in seeing this happen every day. However, and this is a big however, no one tells you that as you move into your gifts and you move into a higher vibration and you start to create your life, that you become very aware of your blocks and your patterns. There is nothing that feels better than that feeling when we go into the light, when we feel universal unconditional love, when we feel it with other people, when we use our gifts. But there's another piece to it, and I like to call it evolution. For the moment, we're going to say that we're clearing our blocks, but let's try to see it as moving into a different way of living, a higher part of evolution. And I'm going to give you an example. I know for myself, every time I moved more into the light, some small intuitive gift would appear. Maybe I learned how to touch people physically so they felt better. Maybe I could think of a person and they would call me. And maybe I could visualize something and it would happen. Well, then what would come behind it was this part of me that still felt helpless to change and didn't know what to do about it. Fortunately, I had the wolves, and I'm going to teach you a lot of what they taught me, as much of what I use with my own work. So part of the magic of becoming the incredible human that you are, is that we all have to learn how to get over our old hurts, clear out our karma, and for us older souls, it's not just this lifetime, it's probably many lifetimes. And we have to learn how to live differently. So come with me, and it's winter, and let's imagine we're sitting under the pines with 4 or 5 huge wolves, and we can feel their amazing spirits and their love pouring into us. So sometimes when love and light pour into us, it makes it time to see our truths. So I want everyone to take a moment and think about where they want to expand and what the experience of that would be. And how you feel when you try to do it and you feel blocked or things don't go well. Notice how you immediately see a part of yourself that you prefer not to see most of the time. Now, right now, I'm reliving my experience with the wolves. So if I was sitting there saying, I just don't know how to do so-and-so, maybe I wanted to write a story about them or work on the stories from them, they would send a picture to me of how I would sit at the computer and work for an hour or so and then go, I'm never going to get this, and get up. If I wondered why my life wasn't happier, I had to realize that I had a habit of being mildly depressed by thinking about things I probably shouldn't have been thinking about and acting in sort of a lazy way, reading a book, not doing anything, wishing that things would change. And then we all have emotional patterns that we repeat. And we have these patterns because we're working through karma, and I hope that you'll see this as not good or bad. Just something that you're working on in your life, and that the more that you look at it, the more that you observe it, the sooner you can change it. So let's go from that point to imagining that light and love are pouring into all those places within us, and that we're getting new answers and new healing. You have to get over not liking the part of yourself that you want to change. So as we're talking about this, go ahead and hold an image of what you would be like if you created to change, and feel the walls helping you hold that. Who you really are. This incredible person with light and love and abilities that's just working through one very small aspect of themselves. And see if you can let go of some of the hurt and some of the emotions around it. What I learned from the wolves is that our emotions tend to hold us in place. But you can change your emotions right now. Think of the opposite of what you're experiencing, along with a feeling of joy and peace. And take a moment to love yourself and let go of the anger that we all seem to have as part of our group awakening, that we have these problems and they're burdensome. They're no fun. But here's the thing is when you move through those things, you become confident. You have new gifts of intuition. You have new joy. You move into that mainstream of light, that collective consciousness that's happening now. So move into that wavelength of collective consciousness and just imagine that you've already moved through this You've gained confidence, you've gained strength, and you love who you are. So feel that energy coming into you now and feel the joy of it. And realize that what we're talking about is spiritual truth. We're talking about a way of becoming free. The more that you can understand the energy that's in you and what you really do in your life opposed to what you think you do, the better you become at reading all energy, animals, nature, people, and life. So if you see this as just one little section of you that's closed off to that bigger wavelength, and you see what you can become and how you can become that, that's a very different vibration. And that's the vibration that I want you to move into. Like these are just small karmic things on your way to opening and developing beautiful gifts and powers. So take just a second and think about what kind of power you would like to develop. Would you like to understand life better? Would you like to read energy better? Would you like to have a vibration that makes it easier for you to communicate with other people? Would you like to have a vibration that helps you express how you really feel in your heart? It is so worth working through these things to get to the other side of it. But it is very helpful to think about what kind of gifts you want to have. Do you notice how there's a huge wave of energy that comes in when you contemplate that? So, we've been talking about awakening, gifts, blocks, patterns, and evolution, and how this will help in becoming who we really are. When we come back, we'll look at some more wolf techniques to clear patterns and create more of what you do really want. So let's go to break now.
Learn and explore fascinating and practical uses of essential oils, how to use them, and how they can enhance your everyday life. The Oil Lounge was founded by 3 remarkable women with fascinating stories about how essential oils changed their lives. Tina and Laura from The Karmic Path have joined forces to educate the masses in the benefits of Young Living essential oils. For more information, visit theoillounge.com.
Are you ready to finally feel empowered and knowledgeable in your political stance? Let Marcia Padilla-Goad educate you on exactly how important grassroots advocacy is in a relatable way to all parties and all perspectives. Tune in to Grassroots Advocacy Radio with Marcia every first Tuesday of the month at 12 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more, visit DynamicsInPublicAffairs.com.
Choose the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. The Cornelia Stephanie Show is your catalyst for anchoring heaven on earth on a global scale. For more information, go to CorneliaStephanie.com.
People often ask, what does it mean to thrive? On Thrive by Jen Radio, it means body confidence, mind fulfillment, and soul synchronicity. Create synchronicity with God and learn as Jen shares action steps and real stories that will inspire you to be unstoppable in fulfilling your purpose. Tune in live each Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit JenniferZellup.com to thrive with Jen.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin on TransformationTalkRadio.com each second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were. This intuitive healer studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Visit OneTrueSelf.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at One True Self, ONETrueSelf.com, and you're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio, where you can experience a higher vibration in a new state of mind. We're talking about the wolves and their insights and overcoming blocks and patterns, which is how you get to your inner gifts. Before the last break, we were saying that one of the ways that you get through patterns is to think about the kind of waves of energy and the kinds of gifts that you would like to have. So when I'm talking about waves of energy, I'm saying that when you wish you had an inner gift, like talking to animals, like healing people, maybe you want to write, maybe you want to do videos, maybe you just want to volunteer and help other people. Whatever is coming up there, that's on the other side of your blocks. So since we're in duality, one piece is feeling emotional and frustrated on the side of the blocks. The other piece of that is feeling that uplifting motion of self-expression from the heart and the inner self. So the two are related. This is a topic that is generally not discussed in soul evolution, but, I hung out with wolves and they are painfully truthful, and it's actually very helpful to me to talk about both sides of duality. One more point on this, and then we'll work on our patterns some more. Another thing that is not normally discussed is called oscillation. When you hit a vibration and it becomes like beautiful and life feels great and you're in the flow, you're going to hold that for a certain amount of time. If you're meditating and visualizing, it's going to happen for longer. However, because we're in duality and we're evolving, let's call it a test. Something is going to happen to bring you down into a lower emotional point. When you're on that lower emotional point, you move back into your blocks and your patterns, which is just simply how we've been conditioned by time and past lives and karma. And they're the lessons that we specifically chose before reincarnating to overcome this lifetime. So when you're in a low vibration, you actually have to use your tools, everything that you know, meditating, positive thought, mantras, herbs, vitamins, exercise. You have to use everything to get yourself back into that higher vibration. And that takes you out of the lower oscillation. Okay, we're going to go a little deeper than that today. The people who are pretty much ahead on the soul train, let's call it that, the people who are awakening, the people who are working for the light, we are all working out our karmic patterns to benefit everyone else. When one of us does it, everybody feels it. Everybody gets a kick upwards. So if you've been frustrated by your patterns, and I know I'm certainly frustrated by mine sometimes, we're in the same place, and we're going to work together today and figure out more about how to get through it. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is that all blocks have a very strong emotional root. We tend to associate them with childhood, but here's the thing. We experience that in childhood because we're reliving a lot of the same energies from another lifetime. So that makes it not so much our parents' fault because we chose that karmic obstacle. So we have to get over blame. That's a big piece of it. The other thing is deciding we can get through them and live at that higher frequency, which is just the coolest thing in the world, right? Okay. So here's how the wolves helped me. The first thing is love. So draw a circle in the center of your chest. Feel pink light in that circle. unconditional universal love moving through you. Feel my personal love and the love of other people and teachers who are working on this right now. And know that you are worthy. You wouldn't be working on these things unless you were on a pretty high level. So know, first of all, you're magic, you're intuitive, you're awakening, you're on the right path. Let's imagine the energy of the earth and the energy of the wolves flowing through wherever the patterns are in our bodies and our lives. Brand new energy moving through. Now take just a second to focus on how you feel emotionally wherever you're blocked. I personally have 4 or 5 places that I'm working on, so don't feel alone. And a lot of the time I'll say, I don't know what to do. I just don't know, or I can't do this. I don't know how. Because I do box myself in a lot and push myself to be creative. So let's feel how that energy feels. I'm feeling it in my upper body right now. And I'm going to let the earth flow through that. I'm going to let the energy that was in my upper body or my shoulders flow down to my feet and the earth. I'm going to feel new energy coming into me. I'm going to become very present. So I'm going to see myself as easily and successfully creative because that's what I need today. And when I say that, I can see that my problem is doubt. I have to overcome doubt, have more faith in myself. So I'm going to ask the universe for a vision of how I can do that. And I'm going to see myself doing it again. And I'm going to feel love for the parts of me that feel confused sometimes and don't know how to do what I want to do to develop myself or my gifts. Now, I'm going to imagine that I'm in the future and I'm looking back and I'm surprised and pleased because it worked. And I have that incredible feeling where my faith is renewed. I know that the universe will help me through these things. I know that the universe loves me. I know that when I hold visualizations with my heart, that new things happen. So let's move into the knowledge of that heightened sensation, that pleasure of having the universe respond with love and light. And that we understand that creating, manifesting, and evolving are what happened after a flash of awakening. And after that flash of awakening, if we evolve, the earth evolves. The animals evolve. The plants evolve. New patterns of energy emerge because we're releasing that old energy. And we grow. And it's interesting because there's sort of this new place within us that doesn't talk anymore. It's very quiet and still, and it energizes us. Just so you know how that feels. So this act of understanding duality, of moving through patterns to master our talents and align with the waves of our gifts, that's the new way of aligning with light and love and creating more light on a global level. So we've been talking about letting go of personal limitations, stepping into our gifts, and we're using love, energy, and visualization to begin with. When we come back, we'll look at how you can use these tools and visuals to change the way you see yourself and experience your life. Let's go to break now.
Do you want the knowledge and wisdom to understand where spirituality, science, and psychology intersect? Then join the Karmic Path Radio Show with Tina and Laura on TransformationTalkRadio.com Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Follow this charmingly, disarmingly dynamic duo as they explore how psychic ability, spirituality, and karmic law tie together. For more information on Tina, Laura, and their groundbreaking work, visit thekarmicpath.com.
Do you know how to achieve wellness in all areas of your life? Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. Signs of wellness are a capacity to love and ability to nurture, a sense of purpose, a good sense of humor and plenty of fun in your life, a concern for others and a respect for the environment, a conscious commitment to personal excellence, a sense of balance and integrated lifestyle, and capacity to cope with whatever life presents. Well, people enjoy their lives and want them to last as long as possible. That's why the wellness mindset usually accompanies other constructive, healthy lifestyle habits. By adopting a wellness mindset and behaviors like eating well, taking the right nutrition for the body, exercising, and saying affirmations are just a few things to structure a healthy system of values and beliefs. I will be your wellness coach to help you achieve a wellness lifestyle. Call us at 888-777-4232. That's 888-777-4232. And visit us at maryjanemack.com.
What is a brilliant culture, and how do we create them? Why are they important? Claudette Rowley has created a breakthrough 5-step process to help you align your culture with your business strategy for exceptional results. Looking for a culture that drives organizational excellence? Listen to Cultural Brilliance Radio, the second and fourth Friday of each month at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio. To learn more or work with Claudette, visit culturalbrilliance.com.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Do you know how powerful your thoughts and beliefs are in determining your experience of your life? Is it really true that simply by changing some of the words you use in your day-to-day language, that you can change your life? I'm Megan Edge. Join me on Playing on the Edge, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host Dr. Pat on Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to seeing you there.
To find out more about Megan Edge, visit her website at meganedge.ca.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin at OneTrueSelf.com, ONETrueSelf.com. You're listening to The Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. We're talking about how we can move through blocks and doubts to find and create a new and more expansive life. So let's begin talking by saying that this is just part of the human experience if you're growing, is to have limitations that you're going to move beyond. It's the way this planet works. I thought you might enjoy hearing about some of the ways that the wolves taught me to overcome my blocks and doubts and how I sort of moved through them. We talked last time about the ways that wolves taught me to go to the heart space, receive love, see the truth about what was going on, and then see it differently and ask for cosmic support. In this portion of the radio show, I want to tell you about things that are more specific in my life, and I hope that you can identify with them. So the first one happened when I started hanging out with wolves. I was passionately and intensely drawn to them. I was also afraid. I had really bad, terrible dreams about wolves when I was a child, always. In retrospect, it's well known that when an animal is your totem, your power animal, you're going to have a very strong response to it. And of course, I didn't have a Native American guide to explain this to me when I was a child. But the first test was being in a pen by myself with 8 or 9 wolves that I didn't know, while everyone else was inside having tea and cookies. So it was this really cold, wet, raw day in January. And I wanted to be with them. And I stepped into the pen, and they were all friendly, and I petted everyone. But then I decided that, as a test of my courage, I would walk around the pen. So I can still feel the earth beneath my feet right now. I had on thin-soled leather boots, and I could feel the ground and the clay and the wolf energy as well. But it was a pretty big pen, and I decided I would walk around it. That would be a test of my courage and how I got along with the wolves. What I didn't know is that they were inviting me to play with them, so they ran around and around me. They barked. They would get in front of me, behind me, to the side. But I just kept walking really slowly and imagined a space around myself. When I turned the corner, this one wolf that was very thin, I found out later it's because she had babies, she became like glued to my side. No matter where I went, she was there. I turned around, she was like right underneath my fingertips. I finally made it around that pen. It seemed like it was a very long time. I will add that there is this marvelous feeling of freedom, of being alive when you're with a wolf that is just absolutely incredible. But later I found out that the wolf that stuck to my side and scared me because she felt a little bit like a bad cartoon at the moment was Juno, one of the wolves that I ended up loving the most. And she was the alpha wolf, and she was there to protect me. And she was going to make sure that none of the other wolves jumped on me or knocked me down. So the point in this is that when you go through these tests of courage, there will always be some kind of being, like a wolf or a person or a book that you pick up or an email that you receive, that will support you during these times. So one of the next things that happened is the wolves decided to help me learn to create my desires. And I wanted a garden, a bigger garden, and I wanted an herb garden. And these magical things happened. Every time I really wanted to find seeds, someone would say they had suddenly gotten the seed of a plant because herbs were pretty rare back then, or I'd get a catalog in the mail, or let's just say my grandmother would send me $20 or $30. But every time I wanted these seeds or wanted these plants, something would happen. Well, having the seeds or having the plants is obviously not the same as having a garden. So I had to learn how to dig beds exactly right for those plants. I had to study them and find out what the seedlings looked like. I had to lug big bags of sand and granite dust and kinds of natural fertilizer as well as mulch to all those beds and to work with that. I really had a hard time digging up everything at first in the yard. It had once been a pasture. There were these giant clumps of grass that were probably, I don't know, as big as, I could barely get my arms around them. So what the wolves taught me to do with those, because they could send me messages at any time as I'd be there, I couldn't get it up. They said, see the grass coming up. And I found that there was this place where I could put the shovel and the grass would just sort of pop out of the earth. I can do that with a small tree as well. I can still do it. When there were too many weeds, I would go around thinking all the time, I'll never get the weeds done. And I heard them one time say to me, see that there are less weeds and more plants. So these are just really simple examples of how you can take an idea and rewrite it. Those are just really easy problems compared to how we may feel about our deep emotional patterns. But I was actually overcoming those emotional patterns because I found that there were different ways of doing something. I could visualize or feel a certain way, and reality would change. So what I'm trying to say here is the universe is so much bigger and wider than you think that it is. If you'll start taking actions even little ones, you'll find new universal ways of making things happen. So here's a fun one. How can I put it? I found that herb gardening was so much harder than I thought it would be. It was nothing like growing vegetables. It was 10 times as hard. So I spent a lot of time running around telling the plants to grow, to get bigger. In a couple years, most of the plants were growing 2 or 3 times larger than they would have normally. Why? Because I had been using that image. So wherever you're having a difficulty, turn it around. If it's abundance for some of you, and I know it is because I feel it, tell your money to grow. See your checks as bigger. See your income as larger. See yourself as happy with the results. So you can see how having this desire to have a garden made me very physically strong. And physical strength is something that you're going to need with wolves if you're with them a lot. They're very grounded. Their energy is very strong. And if you're grounded and you're physically strong, of course you can assume correctly that you're going to have a better relationship with them. So as time went on and the wolves gave me their stories that I called the wolf myths, I wrote down everything they dictated. However, a wolf dictation and a human story are fairly far removed. As much as I like the stories in that form, I don't think most people could have understood them. So now, while it might take a half an hour for me to transcribe a 4 or 5 page message from the wolves and maybe another hour to rewrite it, it probably was taking me maybe 20 or 30 hours per message. And I would get really upset about it because after an hour or two I would think, well, it's just not going to happen. I don't have what it takes. But I started making myself put a certain amount of time into it every day. And that's what we have to do wherever we have a block. Good, bad, achieve something, not achieve something, it didn't matter. I had decided that I would put my energy to use in that way. And for those of you who know me better, writing actually became my job. I wrote for a spiritual magazine. And it's how I quit my job in the real world. But just to give you an idea, I was afraid of getting a divorce. I was afraid of being alone with 2 children. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough money or enough energy to support them. And those were pretty big fears. There are probably a lot of people who have these similar kinds of fears. What I'm going to say is that if you'll start moving through them, something different will happen. For me, it was probably about 5 years for me to get through these things. But every single week, because I kept working on these things, I began to like and love myself more. I was a strong person who could play with wolves. I was a person who loved my friends, loved my family. I loved the wolves. This love vibration was growing. I became adept at reading people and animals because I did it every week. So I knew I was developing. I meditated a tremendous amount of time because there were so many things that I was afraid of that I knew that I had to push through. And this is how little small changes in the direction of your life, when accompanied with a higher vibration and a higher visualization, change you, change your life, change the world. So we talked about the heart. I'm going to talk a little more about visualization. And that is that you have got to want something so much that after you meditate, you're willing to sit there and hold that image for so long, for such intensity, and with so much passion that it becomes reality. And obviously the only things that you're going to want to do that with are the things that live in your heart. You're not going to have the passion or intensity for these things unless you really, really want them. But this is how we learn that the universe can take our thoughts and feelings and actually change the material world so that everything moves, everything alters. And this is how we learn faith and belief. If you can hit the frequency of your visualization, then you're going to create it. If you do it enough, it is going to naturally happen. So think about that. Hit the frequency, stay with the visualization. The third step is pretty cool, and I don't think that most people talk about this either, which just makes it more fun for me, right? That is, a higher wave of energy displaces a lower one. This is what the wolves taught me. When they could feel that I was going to give up on their stories, when they could feel that I thought I was too tired to work in the garden anymore, they would send me this huge wave of energy that would absolutely, impel me into motion. So here are a few examples. When I couldn't sleep, they knew how to send a wave to make me go to sleep. I told you they helped me with a garden. I have no sense of direction. That's not a block. It's something I can't change. I never get lost in the woods. I do get lost on the road. The wolves could send me a wave so I knew where I was or where to go. They sent waves to help me teach, waves to help me write, waves to make my life move into a more harmonious vibration. And I can send those too, because I learned that from them. And I suspect it's one of the things that we're going to be learning in this new age. I want to add one thing that always happens as you're moving through blocks and you're moving into your higher waves and your higher frequencies, and that is there is always going to be a time when you have to speak up for yourself and you have to speak up your truth. And a lot of really amazing things happen when you start to do that. You may have to say, I don't agree with what you're saying. This isn't right for me. In my heart, I feel this or that. And it's really hard in the beginning, but it does free up so much energy. It's an amazing thing that happens when you start doing that. For those of you who have done work with your chakras and with meditation, you can actually feel your entire being speak through your body. And you can feel that your inner self is speaking. And that's very, very different from what we automatically or normally think is life. So all these things about moving through the part of ourselves that we tend to only see in the rearview mirror while wondering why certain things always happen to us. We're taking a clear look at that. We're going to a place where when we're truthful about that and we take small actions and make small changes that are repetitive, that we begin to move into our inner truth. So think about those things and see how they work for you. So today we're talking about finding our gifts by moving through blocks and applying the knowledge of the wolves. You can check out my website at OneTrueSelf, ONETrueSelf.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter for more information like this. When we come back, I'll share a little more of the wolves' vision, and we'll visit with them in a guided meditation.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Are you feeling stuck in unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or low self-esteem? Do you crave a healthy relationship filled with inspiration? You might just be on the verge of attracting your soulmate. Tune in each month to The Laura Richer Show, where dating coach Laura Richer and co-host matchmaker Peggy Bennett share tools for using your dating breakdown for a relationship breakthrough. For more information, visit richerhealinghypnosis.com.
I have struggled with anxiety my entire adult life. My mind was constantly filled with feelings of dread and negative thoughts about myself. But then I completed Dr. Friedman's breakthrough program and can't believe how much my life has changed in just a few months. Dr. Friedman's methods are different from anything I've ever tried, and they make so much sense, and more importantly, they work. I can never thank Dr. Friedman enough for his guidance and wisdom. Visit theempowermentsolution.com and find out how his breakthrough program can help you transform your life.
Has your buzz for life buzzed off? Feeling ignored, invisible, and wondering if this is really all there is? The years go by faster as we gain momentum. You're halfway there. Are you gathering speed or puttering out? Hit your stride for the liberating half of life. Comfortable in your skin? You can do better than that. Tune in to Discovering You Again Radio every fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific as host Susan Axelrod encourages listeners to decide what they want, get inspired to action, and face challenges head-on. Host Susan Axelrod pulls no punches, encouraging you to grab the brass ring and soar. For more information about Susan, go to www.whatwillyourlegacybe.com.
Are you ready to create a life you'll really love? Then you'll want to tune in to the hit show Life Design Radio, From Adversity to Awesome with Susan DiLorenzo, live each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. No matter where you are in your adversity story, Life Design Radio has got you covered. Get ready to feel inspired, enlightened, and motivated. For more information about working with Susan, visit SusanDiLorenzo.com.
Back on, and I'm Julia Griffin with the Power of Inspiration and Awakening show, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. We're going to talk for just a moment, and then we'll take a visual journey with the wolves. We've been talking about clearing blocks, waves of energy, and our intuitive gifts, and that how this is part of awakening. We go to a higher vibration, we take a clearer look at ourselves, we work on changing the pattern, and then we move into our gifts. I wanted to work with a little bit of earth energy and wolf energy to help you with this. We've been using the visualization that the wolves gave to me about a special place where they live. So let's do that, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can use earth energies to help us get through our problems in life and move up into that high oscillation of beautiful energy that we all love and enjoy. So close your eyes. There's a forest where all wolves dream. It's a primeval forest that we all know in part of our mind and consciousness. You've been there before. Your soul knows this place. Go to this place in your mind, and in a little while, if you let yourself really see it, the wolves will come. You've known the wolves in other lives. Once they lived with you and you ran free and wild with them under the moon. Your body knows this. Let your body remember this. Look around. We're in a vast forest. The trees are huge. They have never been touched by man. These trees are from a different time and place. They are reminiscent of cedars or hemlocks, but they are neither. They are trees that live in this special place, the place of the wolves. You can only come here if you're invited. The wolves are calling you because I have asked. Feel this place. Look around and see that the earth is clean and the sky is blue. The sky will darken as the wolves come. It will turn into twilight, and we will travel through the half-world. The half-world is a space and time. You will come to know it. See all the wolves around you. Ask them to come with you to your own geographical area. So it's twilight. We're in this sort of half-world, but you're actually in your area. And you can feel the energy around where you live. Now imagine, with help from the wolves, that you can see the lines of the earth energy. If you can't see them, just imagine that you can. Imagine that you can see areas of light where there's more energy in the earth, and spaces where there is heightened energy. All look a little different. See what you can perceive. See if you can see the heightened energy around you for, say, 10 miles, because there are spaces where the energy is higher. Now let's feel the wolves around us again. Feel how huge they are, how incredible their souls are, how powerful they are, and how they can do so many things that we can't do yet. So ask them to help you open the energy spaces in the earth that are close to you. Let the energy flow outwardly. Let the energy flow into you. Ask the earth energy to awaken your strengths, heal your weaknesses, and to flow abundance, faith, and love into your life. Now hear the wolves howl as the energy flows into your life and into you. Let more energy flow into you. Absorb it and feel it and come back. Feel the wildness and the wonder of the earth moving into you. People often don't think of this, but you can ask nature to heal your sadness or your pain. You can ask the earth to energize and heal you. You can ask for nature to give you a sign. Then if you see a particular animal or a bird or something changes, you can go and look it up. See what that means. You might find a crystal. You might find a feather. Notice how nature is always talking to you and always there to help you. You can also repair your body by asking the earth to heal you. So let's think for a moment about how evolution opens us to elements in life like wolves, like the earth, like beautiful waves of light and vibration and healing. Let's take a moment to think about what an incredible person you must be, that the planet cares about you in this way, that the universe gives you these things. So when we're filled up with energy, it's really wonderful to think about who or what can you send energy to. I'm going to send a wave to the whales, the dolphins, the wolves, and the coyote right now, because the sounds and the frequencies that they emit actually helps to keep our planet in harmony. So you can see how it changes everything for everyone. When you take just a few minutes to look at yourself, to let go of whatever is in the way, to see it differently, and to open up to that flow of universal life. And that may be one of the biggest gifts that as humans who are awakening have. But I feel your light, and I thank you for your presence. So here's your tip for the week. Moving through blocks takes you closer to manifesting your dreams. In doing so, you evolve. And it is much easier to evolve than it is to work through bad things that happen to you. Okay, we're all doing that anyway. So what about we're evolving with love through old karmic patterns so that we're moving into a place of learning more, understanding more, and finding more love, and knowing it's what we came here to do. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter on onetrueself.com, onetrueself.com, and find tips on getting a higher vibration. Thank you so much for tuning into the Power of Inspiration and Awakening show, where you can experience a higher vibration and a new state of mind. Please join me on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, and 9 a.m. Pacific. Next week, I'll teach you more of the fabulous tricks that I learned from the wolves so you can have a happier and more fabulous existence. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next time.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin to master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Join us next time as Julia takes us deeper into the memory of the moments of light where transcendence and enlightenment emerge. The memory of the jewel of consciousness has always lived within you to tap into waves of energy and create huge changes by imagining the beauty of the vision and desires that are hidden in the heart. Learn to find your way back to nature, beauty, and your own heart, which holds the secrets of your existence and future. To discover more about Julia's adventures, animal communication, and the teachings she brings to every show, visit onetrueself.com. That's onetrueself.com. That's ONE, trueself.com.